So gold wing is slightly disassembled. Looks like something exploded in here. Parts everywhere. This was basically what I needed to do, to take the rear tire out and the front tire out and check the air filter. That is pretty much all I've been doing. Of course, since I'm here, gonna replace the springs too. Gonna do the brakes, rebuild the forks, all sorts of things. There's a box of parts in here. There's fork oil, there are brake pads, fork seals, fork bushings, bearings, front and back, new oil filters, some cool stickers from, where is it, from Fortnite. Cool stuff. Yeah, tires are there, seats are there, all the fairings are here, all the bolts and small pieces, more tools that I use to remove the brakes. There is some suspension parts in there, the front axle and speedometer. I've got new, what do I got coming from this bike, for this bike actually. Got a new boot, this air shock, new seal. I have fork oil for it. The other side is actually just a regular shock with springs. This got springs, this is an air shock, so this is what adjusts the preload with those buttons in there. There is an air pump right here, under here. Yeah, fill this up and pressurizes that with air. I'm gonna rebuild that. It's not really leaking a lot, but it's leaking a little bit. Since I'm this far deep into it, I'm gonna do it anyway. New tires, getting Metzler triple weights ultra, front and rear. Gonna flush the rear differential or final drive or whatever that is called. Apply moly lube to the splines from the drive shaft in there. So I'm gonna have to remove this whole pumpkin here and remove the drive shaft, clean it up, re-grease it, put it back together, place the oil in here. So take drain here, fill here. There's some splines on this other side right there. That takes moly lubricant as well. When I reassemble, I'm gonna lubricate all this pieces here for the shocks, brakes. Gonna get new pads. I'm not gonna lubricate the brakes. That would be a bad idea. Although it is tempting to clean everything. Might wash those calipers. Coming up front, gonna get a new one of this fuel filter. There is actually 2 air filters that go inside of this box. So I'm gonna, when those things come, I'll replace it. Right here, this is the cruise control module, whatever this is called. There is a little L-shaped. Where is it? Right there, this little thing. There is a air filter that goes in there. Got a new one for that. For the air pump, to fill up this shock, it needs silica. So cannot find the proper cartridge with the proper silica for it. I'm just gonna take it apart, buy silica pellets, I guess, and replace it. They need to be of the silica that changes color when it's saturated. So you know when you look at that little window, if it's not blue, you know you need to replace it. What else? Oh, this little hose. It works as it is, but it's broken. There's like a 2mm little piece of rubber in there that broke off. It's good as is, but since I'm ordering everything, might as well replace it. So I've got a new one coming as well. I'm gonna install a 12-volt power supply on this pockets in here so you can charge phones, GPS, and etc. I already replaced a central piece of this bike, which is a temperature sensor, believe it or not. They started with that part and built everything else around it. It's deep right into the engine over there. I had to take this whole thing apart, even more than it is now. This radiator fan came off, some hoses, the AC stuff. Move the radiator aside so I can reach with a wrench and take it apart, put a new one in. So now that is working. It was just reading the wrong temperature. It was always showing like the bike was cold. So that impacts electronics in there as well. The carbs, it is a carbureted bike, but the problem is that it has some electronic adjustments to the timing and idle when the bike is cold. So if that sensor is not good, then the bike will not idle properly when it's cold, and we'll never know when the bike is hot to switch back into the proper timing for when the bike is at the correct temperature. I will need to get a new windshield. This one is properly scratched, and I don't like the bird in here. It's all scratched up, looks like crap. Postponing taking this fork legs apart. It's not a terrible job to do. It's just a little bit messy, I guess. There's oil inside of it. Need to be really careful and clean. As you notice, my space here is full of stuff. I need to take a lot of this stuff out so I can work a little bit better here and clean up my work desk in there so I have like a clean environment to work on these things. I also don't have the springs here anyway, so until that arrives, it's not worth starting working on it if I will not be able to finish. What is interesting here, so instead of as you might have noticed, there is 2 brake calipers. So this bike has 2 brake rotors in the front. This one is linked with the back brake. So when you step on the pedal, it activates both. And that one is just your normal front brake. I think the previous owner did not use the front brake at all because these pads are worn to the metal. There's nothing in there. All the material is gone. And for whatever reason, this shock, the seals are blown. so it was leaking. I cleaned it up now, but it was leaking pretty badly, and when I took the fluid out, it was a black sludge. The other one on the other side, it was not leaking, and when I took the fluid out, it was super clean. So I don't know. I think this side got a lot of action just because this brake was used a lot, and this thing has this anti-dive mechanism. So when you step on the brake, it closes this valve, which makes the oil in the shocks flow through a smaller passage. So it makes the suspension harder, I guess, so the bike doesn't dive when you grab on the brakes. But maybe because this side was abused and the other side was not used at all, so this side saw a lot of action on this, and this one just didn't. So that's why this one blew up and that one was fine. I do wanna, like, I'm obviously putting progressive suspension springs on this, but I do want to buy a fork brace, which is a piece of metal that goes between these two connection points here, and they hold the two fork tubes together, so they work better together and makes the suspension a little bit more stable. Couldn't find the one I wanted. It's actually funny that there is none available. I guess less funny that when I called the phone number of the factory that makes the part that I want, a little girl picked up and said it was her mom's company, and apparently she passed away from COVID. So that was a little bit heartbreaking, but so is life. Anyway, yeah, this is where we are. I guess bike still works, although it is fully disassembled. Everything here works properly, even the radio. I'm not sure who's been here. There you go. Yeah. Pretty cool little bike. Can't wait to get new tires on this. The fronts had like flat spots all over, pretty bad. The rear, I removed a nail from it. It was fine, it was holding pressure all right, but there was a nail in it. So now I took that as an opportunity to practice how to fix a tire. I had this whatever these are called, a tire repair kit, and I had never used it before. So before I got caught on the side of the road and don't know how to use the kit, I thought I would try it out in my own messy shed in here and see how it works. It's actually pretty simple. Just stick that piece of rubber glue thingy in there and it will seal the hole. So not a big deal. Pretty easy to use. Guess that's it. This is Thursday, the 26th of 2022 at 8:51. This is the bike update. See you next time. Bye.